just don't worry. Just be happy.
Don't worry. Be happy.
Both Altadena and Palisades and Malibu, really doubling down on our efforts to give back. My husband and I snuck in 2 days after the fire, and when I saw that building was gone.
Give a little bit of support to get them back on the feet as much as we can. We could even start GoFundMes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Aiding with Aiden podcast. We have a guest today. Her name is Julie Chung. She's the co-CEO of a company called T3 Micro. Welcome.
Hi. Excited to be here.
Thank you for coming. I know you're really busy. I just want to give you a little opportunity to introduce yourself. I mean, I know who you are, but could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Julie Chung. I am the co-founder of T3, which is a luxury hair tools company. I started the company 20 years ago with my boyfriend, just super risky. Thankfully, he became my husband, and 20 years later, we've got 3 kids. I'm also a practicing surgeon at UCLA, and yeah, I'm a LA, Orange County, Southern California girl, a native, born and raised, and just have had a really interesting life wearing 2 hats. I know, Aiden, you were part of the medical world, but it's interesting to be a creative and also to be more clinical and science-minded as a physician. So it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, I probably have a lot to learn from you as Asian American who's kind of dropped my career. Well, you completely have not.
So when I was in high school, I actually really wanted to go to fashion school.
Oh.
I wanted to go to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise, and I've always, most Korean women are really into aesthetics, like, beauty and fashion. You can tell a Korean ajumma from another kind of ajumma means older woman just by the way she looks. Like there's a lot of effort goes into a look. So growing up in that kind of culture, I've always been interested in aesthetics. But my mom, being a nurse, was like, you have 3 choices for your career. You're going to be either a doctor or a doctor or a doctor. So I really got pushed into medicine, and it's all I knew. But I always had this creative side to me. So I went to UCLA undergrad, went off to UC San Francisco for med school. And my 3rd year of medicine, I met my boyfriend, who was just leaving a job in the tech world and in finance. And he watched my everyday routine and noticed that I struggled a lot with my hair. I was always getting Japanese straight perms. I know a lot of Korean women can understand when I talk about that, trying to straighten your kind of wavy, coarse hair. And he was confused as to why I spent so much money on fashion and beauty, but then my hair tools weren't great. So he found a white space in hair tools, and we basically created the luxury hair tools category 20 years ago. Wow. And he was always an entrepreneur at heart. I was very risk averse. I think when you're in medicine, you probably understand, having gone through the pharmacy track, people of that mindset really don't like taking risks.
No,
I admire you for taking a huge risk and leaving pharmacy. I also had to step away from medicine full time in the last few years, and it's scary. It's scarier for our parents who find their identity in our profession. But you have to follow your heart. So I love that you're doing that. I'm doing that as well. I still practice once a week. I do love seeing patients. I'm all about wellness when it comes to medical care, but I'm also about wellness when it comes to women and beauty and aesthetics. I would argue most women feel really good about themselves when their hair looks good. Then they can go out there and conquer the world. I think it might even be more important than makeup. And it's a spectrum of wellness that has made sense for my story. And so it's been really fun for me.
I do have more questions about T3 Micro, but did you actually enjoy the medical field route?
You know what? I eventually did enjoy it, and I'll tell you why. And this is how I found you, by the way. I love elderly people. Like my 할머니, and that means grandma for those who don't know Korean, my 할머니 helped raise me, and I would have been a latchkey kid otherwise. It's the typical immigrant story of parents working hard to, try to get the American dream. And here I'm at home with my grandma, and I have an intense love and respect for our elderly, really, really intense, because I think in Korean culture, elders are revered. I think in American culture, less so. So for me, as a glaucoma specialist, the average age of my patients are in their 70s, 80s, 90s. And I find that they are so filled with experience and wisdom, yet we as a culture don't tap into that. And what a great place to learn about how to live your life than an octogenarian or, someone who's lived. I have patients who are over 100 years old. And so my favorite thing to ask them is, give me a piece of life advice.
Yeah, and you post that kind of weekly, right? I've been seeing those.
I call it Monday Wisdom because I have a clinic at UCLA on Mondays. And I'd say 9 out of 10 times, the advice goes along these lines. Just don't worry. Just be happy. Just be happy. I know there's a song like that.
Don't worry. Be happy.
But literally, they say, just let things roll off. Pick your battles and try not to be too stressed. And it's a good reminder for me because we can get really caught up in, in the worries and then the problems. But I find these patients to be very relaxed, and that's probably how they got to 100 years old. But anyways, the first time I ran across one of your posts, it was because you were, helping the elderly on the streets of Korea. And I think several months before I found your post, I was in Korea and I was buying, what are those Korean snacks that are round? It's like
뻥튀기?
Yes.
The popped rice
yes.
snack?
So I bought one from this harmony on the street, and I noticed that she had more. So I was like, I'll just buy more. And she was like, you can't eat all this. You know what I'm talking about.
Practical about our purchases,
So then I gave it to my friends who we were shopping with. And then, so I just had that little moment where I bought more than I needed to help her. So then when I saw your post, I was like, wow, this guy is going and doing this incredible thing, like helping our elderly and like buying out the entire vegetable stand or all of the things that they're selling. And I really loved your heart for doing that because it's very much aligned with mine. So long story short, I love helping people. I particularly love helping those who are not seen by society. And I can do that through medicine. You're doing that in a different way outside of pharmacy. And so I do enjoy it. I love connecting with people and making them feel seen and heard and cared for. And it's a privilege as a doctor to do that.
And
nice to be in that vulnerable space with someone and to help them feel safe and cared for is an incredible privilege. So I do thank my parents for pushing me to be a doctor. It's such a wonderful gift. But what I do with T3 is also amazing because I'm reaching people in a bigger scale. I have women who constantly thank me for making, their hair routine efficient. And that sounds silly, but as an aesthetic person and sitting here in your aesthetic studio, these are things that make you feel good. And if you feel good about yourself, then you can go out and have that same energy in your day-to-day. So
you're providing that confidence for women to be able to do other things. And now that's going to spread like, ironically, wildfire, like what we're going to talk about.
That was a good metaphor or analogy.
And I also want to kind of mention that Julie Chung started what I'm doing in Korea first before I did. So sorry for copying.
No. I just discovered you. You probably were doing it for a long time, but it's funny when I saw your first post, the women I had gone, or my friends, my Korean friends, I texted them. I'm like, let's all go to Korea and do exactly what Aiden's doing. And they're like, oh my gosh, there's Julie and her ideas. She's always like wanting to do something. And I just love it. I love what you do. So.
I'm also very motivated. Even that Monday Wisdom post that you post, I get motivated by reading that.
Yeah.
I get to be reminded of the people that I've been talking to in Korea, and I get to intentionally absorb what they're saying too and trying to learn from that as well.
Yeah.
And so I like to say that I'm providing the blessing, but ultimately I'm receiving the blessing through the interaction.
Absolutely.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be with the person that understands this, and it's rare to actually experience that with another person. So I really appreciate, being able to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And T3 actually, I just want to talk about how much impact you've had in especially women's life.
Yeah.
I just do my hair however I want to do. To be honest,
looks nice.
Thank you so much. I mean,
And
I got hair sticking out.
For us, it's about creating innovative tools for everyday women to use. And we've been doing it for a really long time. We only focus on hair. There's a lot of innovation and thoughtful design that goes into our products. And the funny thing is 20 years ago, there was no founder story. When you talk about products now, like you hear the story behind the brand and the mission and all that. But 20 years ago, it was like we had publicists, but just kind of sat behind the scenes. But in the face of giant vacuum companies coming into your space, you realize that your story has to be just out there more, and I have to be more, face forward now. So it's been an interesting journey. Like 20 years ago, I was much shyer. I could never sit and talk on a podcast like this, without feeling completely nervous. But 20 years later, 20 years of life experience, growing a practice, growing a business, I'm now comfortable coming out and talking about my founder story, which is typically it's not like that, especially in beauty. You have a woman, a smart, ambitious woman come up with a product, and then she has a founder story. But for me, it was 20 years of already developing products and being really excellent at it, and then coming out with the story that it is in fact API owned. We're an LA brand, husband and wife team, co-founded by a woman who is intensely just connected with our community of women and stylists. And so that story is just really now coming out. So it's been interesting. The timing of it is very strange. It's also strange that I have a dual career, that I'm also a practicing physician. But yeah, I mean, we're an LA brand. So it's become more and more important for me, and which is why when you reached out, I said yes, is to be more involved in the community, more forward-facing in our involvement. My husband and I have always been charitable people, but focusing on our community, especially in the midst of what's happened in both Altadena and the Palisades and Malibu, this is our own backyard. So we're really doubling down on our efforts to give back to our specific community here in LA. And bring awareness to the problems that we're having. Yeah,
we're going to talk about your charitable cause and your company, but I just want to point out again, Julie Chung did it before Dyson too. So she's doing everything before all of us. I literally feel like David and Goliath, but when it comes to those bigger guys. But I will say, we only focus on hair and beauty, and so I like to say we're meaningful tech and meaningful innovation because we're giving women what they're asking for. Like we're not necessarily creating something and saying, you need this. And exactly. And because I'm a physician, the health part is extremely important to me. So I have to know that the hair that is styled is moisturized and healthy and not drying out, and that women look and feel good about the health of their hair. So I'm proud of what we do. I feel like we're kind of like this smaller, like if you know, if you know anything about hair and if you know anything about styling, that you would buy our brand. And that not only is there a value there, but the quality is bar none. I mean, my husband and I, we privately own this business. We have no PE money. We have no board that we have to, listen to. So all the decisions we make are husband and wife, and of course, alongside our CEO. And so we make decisions that will build brand trust. We'll never put a product out there that would damage someone's hair. And a lot of
thought and attention to detail, even if it means we extend past deadlines. But that's why we're still here 20 years later. So it's fun.
Have you thought about expanding the space to men? Because after I visited Korea, a lot of men care about their hair too. And I'm sure people in LA especially.
No, it's true. And you probably don't know this, but my twins just entered junior high. And the 12 to 15-year-old, 18-year-old set, they're rocking these new do's, these like giant, like
longer hairstyle too, right?
not just long. It's like fluffy, like almost like froze, regardless of your ethnicity, just big hair. So younger boys are very much paying attention to their hair. So yes, I need to do more research and the up and coming, the up and coming Gen Zers and like how they're doing their hair. We have talked about, men at the end of the day, the category is really small.
I see, that's true.
But yes, we're gonna pay more attention to men because I think when you look at Gen Z boys, like they care about the way their hair looks. A friend of mine told me her 12-year-old spends about 45 minutes on his hair.
Whoa.
I mean, that's a future customer.
Yeah, of course. I like to cut down the time I spend on hair. So the quality product, if it helps out, that would help me.
Yeah.
If it cuts my time from a minute to 30 seconds, I'll definitely
Well, I brought
invest.
you a dryer today.
Oh, thank you so much.
And then you can give me your review because you have nice hair too.
Today's sponsor is by T3 Micro, a luxury hair tools company that truly cares about your hair and our community. They have flat irons, curling irons, blow dry brushes, hair dryers, and so many different combinations and options for anybody. And look, T3 co-founder Julie Chung is not only sponsoring this episode of the podcast, but also sponsoring the people that we're going to help out together after the discussion of this podcast. T3 was a perfect company to partner up with that truly cares about helping our community, but also has 20 years of life-changing hair tools with amazing technology that will make your hair look beautiful and healthy fast. And today I have a product that they just launched. It's called Air IQ Hair Dryer. I just got a perm from Korea. I started to use a hair dryer. I just use like a $10 Amazon hair dryer, and this is how it kind of looks. I would like this side of my hair kind of go up. This is how it ends up at the end of the day. I haven't tried it, so we're gonna do it together and let's see how it looks. First of all, this packaging is beautiful. Your hair health is precious, and so is your time. As someone who values efficiency and time when I'm doing my hair, this is something that I'm really, really looking forward to and to try. Wow. We have this tool. It's super light. When you're not using it, it's magnetic. There's 2 more attachments on the back. I just want to go wet my hair, and this is how it looks. I plugged in the hair dryer. Turn on the, whoa. It talks to you, it says hello. And it's all dry. Just gonna add my little curling cream on like I do every morning. And that's it. It was really light, super easy to use, the quietest hair dryer I've ever used. I'm happy. This is amazing. And that's it. Looks great on your table. My hair feels magnificent, healthy. I'm gonna go play basketball. It's
It's been about 3 hours since I did my hair. It's still up the way it was without anything else other than the hair dryer and the curling cream. A couple games in, and of course it will fall a little bit, but you know, it's fairly still voluptuous, and I'm loving it. It's way different from my other hair dryer where it would have been all down by now. So I played a couple more games. You know, if it's perfect after that, I would be scamming. This is what happened after. Still a little, you know, voluptuous, but you know, definitely came down a little more. Oh, thank you so much. I did it in Korea actually, and then I got a haircut a few days ago.
Oh, you got it cut in Korea?
No, I got a cut here, but then I got a perm in Korea.
You got a? Did you get a dandy perm? Are they calling them dandy perms, or is dandy perm like a tighter perm?
Yeah, he did. So the first perm he got was a dandy perm. It's the side thing.
I guess I did. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, so perms are really popular. Perms are really popular amongst Asian men, but
Yes.
I would argue once non-Asian men, the like I said, the younger men who are doing these big hairstyles, I'm sure it'll spread there too because they're trying to get the volume.
Do you want to take your business to Korea too? We could do that too. We could work on that. There's a big market over there
Oh,
too.
huge. It's
Yeah.
a huge beauty market. We are going to end up there. We're expanding to the UK, Europe, Australia. We're in Canada now. But Korea, I mean,
Asia.
I'm Korean, so we gotta
Exactly.
tackle Korea. We're coming for you. Although my Korean is not as good as your Korean is excellent.
Oh, I appreciate that. I don't think
When
so.
did you
actually.
when did you come here?
In third grade of elementary school. So I kind of lost my Korean for a little bit, but I ended up going to college, pharmacy school, where a lot more Asians are at, and so I practiced a little bit more and gained it back.
Oh, you gained back the Korean.
Yes.
Through pharmacy school because you only hung out with Koreans?
There were more...
Or because it was 70% Korean?
It was more Koreans than I expected, 100%.
Right,
And
yeah.
so I grew up in Rancho Cucamonga. It was mostly white
yeah,
and
you're right.
a little bit of Hispanic. I was maybe 10 Koreans in the whole entire school. So we knew everybody. We knew each other.
Yeah.
But we only speak English.
Right.
And then I gained it back. And then after I started going to Korea, I think I got a little
your
bit
Korean's
better.
very good. Yeah.
My editing
Yeah,
is
it is.
phenomenal. That's
Is
why.
it?
No, there's a lot of stuttering involved in between that I have to cut out.
It's really good. Yeah. No. I was like, I need to learn more Korean because if you are gonna be public, speak with
Mm-hmm.
public like that, you have to speak better.
I mean, that's definitely a reason to go to Korea,
Yeah,
and you can also
yeah,
help me
yeah.
out with the elderly,
Yeah, of
and
course.
you could do your business there
Yeah.
too, and that'd be amazing.
I'd love that. I would love that. It'd be so fun.
You talked about how the T3 Micro changed and positively impacted
Mm-hmm.
women's life. Are there any stories that you've heard personally from people that you want to share with us?
Yeah. So we were sitting in a bar once, and my husband and we struck up a conversation with this really beautiful older Indian woman, and she asked what we did, and we just mentioned T3, and she literally jumped off the bar stool and was like, "You are doing God's work." And I'm looking at her like, what are you talking about? And she goes, I have long, thick, coarse hair, and it would take forever to dry. And I dry it so fast, and I'm so much more comfortable at styling my hair. Like, you have no idea the impact you've made. And it sounds so funny because I can do cataract surgery on someone and I rarely get that impact. I'm like improving vision and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks,
I can
Dr.
see
Chung.
now, bye.
Yeah, like, okay, so I'll see you next year. And then this woman, on the other hand, was like jumping out of her chair. And I have several interactions like that monthly where women are like, I feel comfortable doing my own hair. It's like I'm giving them the power back. Because most women will say they feel good when they come out of a salon, but they can never replicate that look. And so for women to be able to do at least 80% of what a stylist can do at home, it gives them freedom. Freedom from having to go to the salon every time to get a blowout. I have some friends who can't do their hair, so they go and get a blowout every week. But I say, but what happens when you can't go? Don't you want the power to do your own hair? And so I have women who very excitedly tell me, oh, I love this product that you make, or this, or this. And so it's fun for me in a different way. I mean, we are making a huge impact, and these women really feel like we're their advocates, which we are. And I think it's equally as important as what I do in medicine.
Yeah.
And there are there are stories, for example, of women who have carpal tunnel or shoulder issues, and our products are very light. And because it's made by a woman, I think about the ergonomics and how lightweight something is. Whereas, no offense, Aiden, but when when you guys make stuff, like, to you it feels light, but it's very heavy for a woman. So I've had women with shoulder problems, stylists with shoulder problems, who say they can finally do their own hair and lift their arm above their head to use a blow dryer, or be able to work longer hours on a client because the product is so light. I've even had a one-arm amputee thank me for the ease of use of one of our products called the Air 360. It can pick up hair. It's ideal to use it with both hands, but you can pick up hair even without your other hand. And she said it's the first time in her life she's been able to style her own hair. So these are like really impactful stories. Women who reach out through DM and share how it has impacted them. And, you know, some might think, oh, well, okay, so you can do your hair. But like I said, it's a big deal for women. Hair is such a huge psychological component for everyone, men and women.
Men too, yep.
When you don't have hair or you have thinning hair, a huge lack of self-confidence as a result. And when you have great hair, it boosts your confidence. I would say, like I said, more than your outfit or even the makeup you're wearing. So to be able to provide that for women has been super rewarding. And I do love the stories that come in on DM. And it's really what keeps fueling what we do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do agree. Even for men, you know what? I care the most about my hair, even though I don't care about relatively.
Well,
I care
you got
the
a
most
perm,
about my hair.
Aiden. So you went and got a perm. That means you definitely care, and I like the volume that you got from it. And there's no shame in that. Like, guys, like, you know, society, I think we've come a long way, and so guys can take care of themselves without seeming odd, and I think that's awesome. But yeah, guys do care. I mean, as they should. It's hair, like I said, it's a sign of so many things. You taking care of yourself, your health. You know, for women, it goes even deeper. It's like signs of like fertility and youth and beauty. It's all wrapped up in hair. So, you know, it's like it's a huge mission for me, for people to feel comfortable with the hair that they have, and how can they best get the best potential out of their hair.
When you see me more confident and helping more people in Korea, I definitely use that dryer that you sent me. And so I'm going to be the first man story that you'll have that gave me more confidence.
Yeah, to go out there and talk to those 할머nis and 할아버지's.
And they're going to compliment me on my hair, how luscious it is, and explain all about it.
Whatever it takes. If I'm a part of that story, a part of your story in that way, I will own it.
And I'm carving my story into T3 as well. Hey, wow, that's amazing. Like, something that you don't expect to have such positive impact in people's lives could have that positive impact. So it's really nice to hear that a company, you know, we usually view companies as like they're making money, and sometimes they have to donate to a community cause for some like tax reasons or like government push or you know, forced reasons. But it's nice to see a company that truly cares about the community, charitable work. And I just want to talk about there was a huge fire in the Palisades in Los Angeles, and you do live there, and I know that on social media you've helped stylists out, especially. Is there something that you did for the stylist that you would share?
Yes, so my family and I, we lived in the Pacific Palisades, and yes, there was a 22,000 acre fire on January 7 and 8. It was actually my birthday, January 7.
Oh my God.
So which is really terrible. So I'm sitting there after we ate our I love Baskin Robbins ice cream cakes. So my kids bought me a birthday cake and I ate a slice, and around 10:30, my husband was like, there's a fire out in, looks like the hills. And I look out the balcony, and we left our home thinking that didn't need to evacuate. It's going to be fine.
Right.
You know,
Just
my
like
husband's
any other
like,
fire
my husband's like, why are you packing all this stuff? We're going to be right back here. But of course it turned into 48 hours of the most harrowing experience, those 48 hours, just wondering if your house is okay, if your friends are okay, if your community is going to survive. And it was a traumatic experience. And at the same time, I had friends in Pasadena and Altadena texting me and telling me that they were evacuating, friends telling me they lost their homes. So this was the enormity of it was so shocking and traumatizing. And so, yes, as a company that is located in Santa Monica with co-founders who live in the Palisades, we felt a tremendous, anyone asked for anything, we just said yes. You know, we had other beauty companies reach out and say, can you donate, X hundreds of dryers or whatever you can donate? It's just without thinking, just yes. And it's such a small drop in the bucket of need. So we have, collaborated with several LA beauty brands to supply not just to stylists, but to women who, hair dryer is an everyday essential. When you're filling your shopping cart and shopping for your dorm at Target, like dryer is one of those things that it's an essential. So we donated a lot of dryers, a lot of tools, and just to bring some normalcy back for women. We had many women text us and say, or DM us and say, I lost my curling iron, I lost this, I lost that. And for me, I told my team, if someone said they lost it, or even if they bought it and lost it, we're going to replace it. So we've been replacing tools without question. And whatever we can do to show some compassion, there are so many, I'm so proud as an American, there's been so many companies that have just given things for free. I had a friend who lost her home, and she reached out to a mattress company, and they just gave them all 5 brand new mattresses just sent. So
that's great.
That sort of generosity, I think, is very much particularly special, I think, in the American culture, just to give like that. So we were one of many companies that felt sort of like this working together to try to heal and bring back some semblance of normalcy for people in need. So it's been a privilege to do that. I wish we could do more,
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about it as if it's like everyone is doing it, but I just want to highlight that a lot of companies don't do that. And like you said, the mattress company, that's amazing that they did that. But like your company, to be able to provide their expensive hair dryers too, their luxury, hair dryers, and it's a luxury brand. So I'm sure there were cases that could have been used in a negative manner by the people, but the fact that you just close your eyes and just wanted to help, and that was your focus, and just replaced items or gave out free dryers, to me, that's amazing, and that's very inspiring to hear as someone who purchases these kind of products.
And the stylists too, their livelihood is their tools.
Yeah.
So to be able to give back their livelihood, I mean, it's even more important. So same thing. We did collaborated with Mara Rozak, who has a salon in West Hollywood, to provide kits for stylists. She has an amazing liquid brand. We have our products, and to have 2 LA brands come together and supply for the stylists who lost everything, that's been incredibly important. And we're continuing to do that. You just have to DM us if you're a stylist and you lost your kit. We'll give you whatever you need. And so that's been just one way of healing for us too. Like you say, it goes both ways. When you help people, you actually receive more. Like for me, to know that I'm just doing one little thing for someone, it just makes me feel like I'm helping everyone heal. And I'm healing as a result by showing that outpouring of love and concern. So yeah.
They've worked all their lives, and now everything has halted because of the fire, and you're providing that source and that tool to continue on. That's a very powerful thing to do for someone like, I can't imagine. It's like me working, studying 8 years of my life to become a pharmacist, and I build a pharmacy and then it
Yeah,
just
and then
burns
it's
down or
gone.
it's gone. Or like me even helping people, I have the social media platform. It's like one day it just gets deleted, it's gone, and you don't know what to do
it's-
anymore.
The impact of it is crazy. I mean, and I don't know the numbers in Altadena, but in the Palisades, 8,300 structures were burned. My son, who's 9 years old, I bought him a drone. And my son is very smart and a very techie kid, so I bought him this really expensive drone in December for Christmas. He flew that drone all over the Palisades in December. So he, in his 9-year-old mind, knows the topography and the way the Palisades looks. A different view, literally a bird's eye view that we're not accustomed to. I made the parental mistake of letting him fly that drone a couple days ago, and he had on his first person view goggles, and he said, "It's all gone. It's all flat and black and brown, and mommy, it's all gone, all of it." And he named all of the, not just the homes, but all of the businesses we frequented, the small mom and pop businesses that have been there for, some for, 2 generations, all gone. So the enormity of what has happened, we still, us Palisadians, and I'm sure the people in Altadena, we still can't wrap our heads around what happened. Like it just, like how did that happen? How can this be? We'll build back stronger. I think if anything, the outpouring of love. I mean, you've seen like some of these Instagram stories where donation centers where they had to ask people to stop bringing. Like we have too much stuff. Like what a beautiful thing to see.
Which is amazing.
Amazing. Like to see, Angelinos come together in that way, that outpouring of support. So the silver lining was, in a city where they say, you guys only care about looks, Hollywood, traffic and road rage. I think we really showed the world the silver lining of this disaster was the heartfelt support that neighbors have for one another and how we just all really want to help each other out. So I think that was a silver lining out of this whole thing and something that I think and hope will continue to move forward.
Yeah.
And that we don't forget what's happened and that we continue to support each other and just show each other some grace. You know what I mean? And not be so caught up in someone not making a left turn and moving fast enough. It's like, come on, guys. Like we just, went through this. Gives you a lot of perspective too on what's important and how to treat each other gently and with grace. So I think it's a painful but interesting lesson for us all on how to live and how to live together.
I was a little bit worried about social media attention dying down a little bit and the support kind of also dying down with that. Living in the Palisades, how is that like right now? Are there still tremendous amount of support coming in?
There's a lot of support, and I think the one thing that I would like people to understand is that the Palisades is not just a wealthy area where celebrities are. I mean, there are plenty of people who have lived in the Palisades for decades who were house rich and land rich, but cannot afford to build back. Plenty of people like that who will not be able to come back to a community that they raised their children in and that they've lived in for 2 or more generations. They're not going to be able to come back. There's plenty of small businesses, plenty of renters, plenty of people who, some I know that have actually become homeless. Like there was a grocer, friendliest guy at our local grocery store who lived in a very small home. Last I heard, he was sleeping at a convention center. I mean, these are real everyday people who need help and who need light shed on their situation. I know there's been snarky comments about, whoa, okay, so you can go move to your second home. I mean, that's not the case for a lot of people. Not just that, regardless of your socioeconomic status, if your place burns down and all of your memories and the things that you cannot ever get back burn down, along with your mother who passed away and her jewelry and your father's, collection of books, that you've held on to since his passing, like these are things that will never be retrieved. And to at least provide emotional support to those people and not feel the need to write a snarky comment. in the privacy of your home behind a screen would be appreciated. But having said that, though, on the whole, I think people have been very supportive. And, obviously, I would love there also to be that continued support in Altadena where there are less resources. And, just continued support for LA, as a whole, Malibu included. So,
Yeah. I know you mentioned a couple small businesses that also have burnt down. And small businesses, they're there to, have a livelihood. It's their business. It's a source of income. It's not like some of them may live there, but most of them may not. And they just come there to, for business purposes, and their business have burnt down. And I know that you've personally seen some of these businesses go down, and you've met these people as well. And we were just talking about how we could help the community together through this podcast. There was a business that you've noticed? You want to talk about them a little bit?
So as a business owner and knowing what it's like to build something up from the ground up and to employ people and to have that business provide your livelihood and the livelihood of others, I think the small businesses that were impacted are particularly hit close to home, and sort of I hurt for those people. There was a small tailor shop that I discovered 4 months ago that I didn't know existed. It was in a commercial building that burned down on Via de la Paz. And my daughter needed her ribbons sewn into her point shoes, and the ballet store that normally does that was too busy. So I just Googled tailor shop Palisades and found this small tailor, and we went into the tailor shop, and it was an older husband and wife Korean couple, could barely speak English. It was called Gary's Tailoring. And they were so warm, and the wife was just tickled that there was another Korean person in the Palisades. She's like, oh, do Korean people live here too? She thought it was really funny. And they were so just warm and, reminded me of my own, grandma, grandpa, my mom, dad. And they had purchased, I think she told me a few years back, that business from someone who had built that business within the community. So when my husband and I snuck in on Thursday in our car 2 days after the fire, and when I saw that building was gone, I thought they had just bought this business. I think we'll find out more details if we can find them. But to have that whole thing burned down, like my parents are small business owners too. Like I'm sure they're reeling from this. So I would love to shed light on the smaller businesses that maybe weren't as sort of visible in the community. I think for them too, it was hard for them probably to really become a part of the community because of the language barrier. I have reached out to several big Palisade chat groups asking if anyone knew the owners of Gary's Tailor, and nobody knew them. I'd love to find them with your help. That's the business I was referring to.
Yeah.
And then there's like plenty of small businesses. There's another one that my 9-year-old went to called Forge Maker Space. It was started by this 20-something-year-old, very motivated, passionate STEM founder, this young man who's a Santa Monica native, who started his little business of 3D printing, teaching kids how to do robotics and after school program. That also burned down, and he's trying to get back on his feet, had a GoFundMe. My son, my 9-year-old, actually didn't cry about the fires until he saw aerial footage of Via de la Paz and realized that Geron's business is gone. And that was the time he actually started crying. He said, I'm never going to be able to go back there again. And so those small businesses that don't have a lot of, sort of recognition, or that the community hasn't really spoken a lot about, I'd love to be able to help them in some way.
Yeah. Dang. It's so sad to even just think about business burning down, like a whole building burning down, but like we talked about, their livelihood, what they started, their passion, what they poured out their time and energy into is just all gone. And not just them, but it's impacting people like us, you, your son.
Yeah. And our memories are there too. You know,
Right.
the boba place that we would go to every day after school, toppings, the yogurt place that I would take my kids to when they're not being naughty and they deserve a treat. There's so many beautiful little mom and pop stores that had a lot of heart with owners that were, making a living, but really giving back in their own way by just being there and being available to us. Because the Palisades is very much localized up on, up higher above Santa Monica. So the community really depends on the small businesses there. We can always come down into Santa Monica, but those businesses were really part of the community because we relied on them, the restaurants and the stores. We relied on them. And I think that's what made that community special too, because it was so removed. It was a place where people knew each other's names and kids could walk around without their parents and feel safe. So it was a very, very special place.
Yeah. So this podcast, we filmed this part 1 and we discussed about how we could help. And then as a part 2, we actually want to execute that and help those people out that we talk about right now. Would it be cool if we maybe give them a call after this discussion?
Yeah, definitely.
If we could get in contact, maybe go together to maybe hear their story and how they're doing, and maybe find ways to give a little bit of support, hopefully to get them back on the feet as much as we can, right?
Yeah.
And we could have our viewers come and help, or we could even start GoFundMes to help boost that business back on their feet. Is there anything else maybe you could think of that we could
there's
do?
there's so many businesses. There's also a really small car wash that I loved that was right behind the Palisades Garden Cafe. The owner had so much heart, and I believe he also lived in the Palisades, so I think he lost both his business and his home. We'll double check. We can fact check that. And he also lovely. Like, you would bring your car and he'd ask what your name is and just was so friendly. This was it was a big town with small town feeling. And so, anyone we could shed light on, like I haven't heard anything about him on social, you don't hear about a lot of these people.
Right.
If we can even share their story, you've got such a huge audience. And what's special about your following is they follow you because they have heart. Anyone who follows you is going to follow you because they love what you're doing, and they are probably themselves extremely compassionate and generous.
They are.
So I think this is a great platform to shed light on those businesses that probably haven't gotten a lot of attention.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you've brought attention to, the small businesses as well, because you don't think about that. You just think about the houses burning down, maybe some buildings burning down. We talk about the Getty almost getting burned down. Those are what our attentions are on, but in the hindsight of everything, there are way more people getting hurt personally, income-wise too,
and
financially.
as a business owner, owning a business is part of the American dream.
Yes.
Building something for yourself and for your family. So it hurts in a different way, in a way that hurts just as much as your house burning down. It's something that you've spent your entire life achieving, that American dream. And for an immigrant family like this Korean couple, it's like being able to own a tailor shop in a affluent area like the Palisades is no small feat. And for that to just come all crashing down and having to start all over, especially for people, they're not young anymore. Jaron at Forge Makerspace is young, so he can pick up again and start. But some people won't be able to, and will now need to depend on others for their livelihood. So it hurts just as equally, but in a different way. So they definitely deserve our help.
Thank you for shedding light on those. And Julie is really humble about what she's going to do, but she has shared that through T3, the people that hopefully we reach out to, she will be able to, at least, we don't know how much or cost or how much we could do to help, but at least some of the initial costs that might go into just getting their feet up. Like, for example, like if it's hair styling tools that they need, it's totally she's willing to donate. And if it's like the Gary shop or even the 3D printing shop, if there's some initial cost needed to rebuild, Julie has generously offered to kind of help with that, and we could use our social media platform to fundraise more so that it's not just only a one-time help, but we could continue to help them in a way where at least they could come to a spot where they're comfortable enough to sustain themselves. And so thank you so much for offering that.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
it takes a lot of heart and generosity to do that. I mean, it's a company, we say it's so lightly, it's a company helping out, but ultimately that's an income. It's a source of income that's gonna go into your bank account, but you're generously offering that for others.
I think,
and so,
ultimately, my husband and I, it's like we have to, if you've been blessed with success, then we feel you're obligated to give it back, because there was a lot of blessing involved in that. And not, there's our ability and what we've done, but there's also it's just a blessing. So to be able to pay it forward, which I know so many people do on social media, and it's so heartwarming to see. I think helping in a community way is also extremely important, which is why I love seeing these GoFundMes and seeing how even if you have 100 people give $50, like that impact, but also the person who receives, because I have talked to some friends who were the recipient of GoFundMe donations, to know that many people care is extremely powerful. So yes, I will be donating, and it's me, this one person, but to know that there's a whole community of people who are rooting for you at whatever dollar amount, but it's the sheer number. I think there's a huge healing in that as well. So 100%. It's like it's the money amount, yes, but it's also just knowing that this many people care
100%
about me.
I agree.
And that's the beauty of GoFundMe. You can have Bill Gates come in and just hand everyone $1 million. And that's heartwarming too.
We'll take it, Bill Gates.
And that's heartwarming too. Yeah. But to see a community effort is a different kind of heartwarming that is very healing. And super important, which is why a platform like yours is important.
Just a side story, like the harmonies or the older ladies that I meet, when I share them and give them the money, and it's like usually in the thousands of dollars or some like even tens of thousands of dollars, they've never experienced that in their lives. And when I explain to them how many people, not even from Korea, but even from America, have donated this much for them, she doesn't even know who they are. And they get so shocked. And
do they ask why? Like, why would someone do this?
Well, I think
no one's ever asked that.
Why? I don't think I've ever heard of why, but it was more like why. It's not like why they're doing it. Why for me is why they're asking. Right. Why? What do I do? What did I do to deserve this much? Yeah. So, I mean, what you exactly talked about, it's amazing.
Yeah. The why. When you have an outpouring of love that you think you didn't deserve, and it's coming from this entity.
Yeah.
I think ultimately that feels like God's love. It's like these are all nameless faces. You're seeing this, but when it comes to you in that quantity, I think you can't help but say, wow, this is like God loving me. Yeah. So it's so much bigger than like Nancy, Sally, Amy, all the people who gave money. I think it turns into this really beautiful thing where you feel like this grace and this love that you're feeling. So I think that it's a silver lining of when a lot of people didn't realize they would be in a position of needing help. But sometimes you have to be in that position to experience that kind of love. So it's sort of a strange blessing in disguise. Yeah. But a beautiful thing that could rise from the ashes, this beautiful experience. And so I hope and pray that for anyone and everyone who's been traumatized by the fire, that they can somehow see the love that's being poured back into their lives, to their friends, through nameless strangers who want to help. Yeah, and I hope that buoys our city up for a long time. That feeling of community support and love.
Yeah, I'm really excited to take this, project on with you to change lives and hopefully,
I'm excited too, Aiden. I feel like I met a celebrity when I met you this morning.
I'm meeting a celebrity.
Late night, I'm like scroll through your Instagram and I'm always bawling. I'm always like, oh my gosh. And I'm always so touched by I think I've seen every single one of your posts.
Thank you so much for the support.
So I'm super excited to do something alongside you because you've made an incredible impact and then to do it in our own city, I think will be super special. So
I'm
thank
really
you.
honored to be in this position as well, to meet you and to do a project like this with you. So I'm super excited. This last question. This is I want to have a learning experience moment for me. Where do you get that heart that you have for charitable causes or that idea of wanting to bless others because you've received a blessing kind of idea?
Well,
where do you get that?
Korean Americans in LA and Orange County, the majority of us are Christian. And there's reasons for that. When you come here as an immigrant, Korean immigrant, our parents, their community center was church. Just like it's a community center for lots of other ethnicities as well, right? Like for the Black community, the church was a place of congregating and supporting and being activists together. It's no different for the Korean American story. So growing up in the church and experiencing God's grace and love that was freely bestowed upon me, even though I don't deserve it, has always been ingrained in me, and my parents have always ingrained that in me. So when someone asks for something, you give it. Because it's the same thing. When I asked God, my Father, for something, he just gave it to me, including his own son. So for me, it's a natural extension. I could do so much more, and I'm always hoping I can find ways to do so much more. But I think that's why a lot of Korean Americans are very generous too, because they sort of grew up in the church and have this mentality of, I've been given so much, how can I give back? And you see it. You see it in K-Town. You see it when Koreans rally together to help their own and the surrounding community. So I have my parents to thank for that, for raising me in that way. And I hope I can extend that to my kids. And regardless of what race or religion you are, if I can share love to you, the love that was given to me, then that's a win. That's a win.
I see.
And I'm happy to do it.
Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for sharing. I haven't personally shared either, but publicly at least, but I'm a Christian myself too. And I stem from God's love, and the reason why I wanted to help out people was to just tell you the background. I had a lot of experiences going out to the unhoused community in Pomona, where my church was, and I had experiences of talking to them. And there's a story where I handed a lady $20 of my money when I was in high school, and I asked her, "Do you need anything else?" And she said, I don't need this money from you. I just need your prayer, and I need medicine for myself and my son. And so that kind of led me to go to pharmacy school. But that experience just overall helped me to realize that I've received so much graciously. Fortunately, I haven't done anything to earn it. And how could I use my skills and my time to give back? And that's why I started this social media account as well. I no longer work as a pharmacist, even though there were ways to help people that way too. But I wanted to make direct impact and bring the community together. And so that's my reason as well. So it's nice to hear that we have similar
well, you can
foundation and
see it
story.
in your actions. You can see that it's a superhuman love, and not just a love from Aiden, but a superhuman love.
I see.
That comes from above. And I think ultimately love is through action. You can talk about it all day long, but if you don't show it through action, it's meaningless. So to show that freely and to everybody the way that you do, I'm not surprised.
I mean, thank the Lord.
Of your background, and yeah, it's heartwarming to see, and it's going to make a huge impact. Yes, you could have made a huge impact as a pharmacist, but we all have our calling, and for you to follow, your heart, I think is very brave, and you'll be blessed for it. I have no doubt.
Thank you for that encouragement. I mean, I fail too, but thank the Lord. Like He continues to encourage me and motivate me through, His Word, and also like people like you, and so I'm really grateful. There was one thing I kind of want to share. I don't know. It's been on my mind for a long time, but in Korea, when I do these kind of, I guess, helping the community type acts, I don't share the gospel or I don't talk about God because in Korea, Christianity is really loud. It's very vocal, and there's a lot of cults, and they come as we're Christian and we want to bring you to this place, and they have them pay money, and it's basically a scam.
No,
like a membership
I totally know
fee,
what you're talking about.
right?
Yeah.
So I've kept that to myself, and hopefully to show through action. But I just thought about how I could show, I guess, where the love is coming
But
from.
your actions are louder.
That's
I
good to
don't think you have to verbalize anything. And yes, there's a lot of wariness of, so do I need to accept the gospel to receive this money? I think you will be provided opportunities to share when someone's ready and someone asks. I've been practicing medicine for 15 years. I've never, in the context of medicine, shared the gospel. I also, I pray for my patients all the time. The way that I exhibit Christ's love is by the way I care for them. So my patients, no matter what religion there are, they could be any religion. I have Muslim patients, Jewish patients, agnostic, atheists, all of them.
Doesn't matter.
I equally show them all a tender love, the love that I receive from Christ. And that is incredibly healing. And you have no idea what it's doing, just showing that love. And then that could be a step towards them healing, or, God has a plan for everybody. He's just asking us to go out and love and show it in action. And yes, sometimes there are opportunities, as there should be, to share the gospel. But I think you're doing it right, Aiden. You're doing it right.
That was a very freeing conversation. I actually never talked about this publicly. Yeah. And so this is the first time.
But I knew. I knew as a fellow believer, I was like, and I DM'd you about it too. I knew. I think Christianity too, in the U.S. especially, and under the current political situation, has a real bad rap. But I think if Christians just be quiet and just literally put your money where your mouth is, stop talking about what Christ wants us to do, and just go out and do it. Just shut up. Just go out and do it. And that will be far more powerful than you trying to say something to someone who knows that it's not coming from a place of love. So I think it just really starts with action and then see where it goes. But the action part's important.
Yeah. I know this podcast is going to inspire other people to act as well. And so thank you so much for your time. Thank you for
this was
being
fun.
here.
It went by fast.
It
Thanks,
did.
Aiden.
Wow, 1 hour just went. That was crazy. This is what I enjoy, a convection, and we could also inspire
so fun.
people.
Thank
through
you.
this.
And I'm looking forward to our part 2.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julie, for coming. Yay!
And thanks, Esther. Thank you.